to personally put in $500,000 into buying pretty much all this shit. What is up, YouTube? Gonna be doing a Q&A today, and some of the questions were personal, some were fitness, some were business. So I'm gonna start here, going to work out soon. I'm gonna start with business questions here at the office. Keep it short. I don't have a lot of questions, and then we're gonna go work out. I'm gonna train some arms today because I feel like as a retired bodybuilder, all I need is big arms and a big chest to look good in the t-shirt. So I might as well train arms every single day. But with that being said, first question. And I'm actually gonna combine these two because they have the same answer, but it's how do you balance being an athlete and running and promoting your businesses? I mean, I used to be an athlete, I'm actually retired now. But then the other question is, what role did your team play in managing your business and sponsorship? So how do I balance it? It's by the giant role that my team has in everything. I literally come in and have conversations. There's like Bond Streets, Bum Energy, Raw Nutrition, the training app, my personal stuff, the YouTube, there's Revive. There's a whole bunch of shit going on, and it's more so conversations and like direction that things are going. For example, I just pulled this up, but me and Calvin filmed this yesterday. This is a challenge that we're making for my app, and we have a social media team, and they send over a deck, a motto, and they'll go through and they'll gub up with a bunch of videos that they want me to film for it. And then they can write it out like this, and I can go back and say if I like it, if I don't like it, I have my own ideas or whatever. And that's how easy it is for us. So then we just have to execute on a script, all the concepts, and they literally have 8 videos on here that we review and go through it. And now that I'm retired from bodybuilding, and the more so my involvement in the business is like the vision that I want things to have. So I am now creating some of these decks myself, which I can actually pull one up here too and show you guys. And this is kind of like what I'm excited to do, is put more branding into things that I want to see. And then I can just send this to the team to execute. This is raw, so it's the team that's downstairs, but it's for something I want to do for the protein RTD. I'm not gonna show everything. The protein RTD is like one of our biggest things. That's gonna be gas stations, Sam's Club, Walmart, all over the place with consumers who don't know who we are. So I wanted to build a campaign that's gonna be like maybe on billboards, cool videos, stuff that people can relate to, showing just how useful the RTD is. So it would be like a photo shoot somewhere, like someone exercising. It would be funny, like humorous, on a bus, talking about how it's from the gym to the commute, anytime, anywhere, protein RTD is available, easy to use, easy to get your protein in. And it would be someone fucking doing some pull-ups or yoga or some bullshit on like a train or a bus with really cool pictures, maybe a video that goes along with it, behind the scenes YouTube video. We could turn the picture into a billboard, run ads on it, do whatever. We could take the billboard, try and make sure it's sitting outside of a Sam's Club where we have the protein RTD, put that little tag on the billboard being like, next stop by your Sam's Club, grab some protein RTD. So that's kind of the gist of it. And the only way I balance that shit is because I can simply come up with an idea and send it off, or people can send ideas to me, and me and Calvin execute like we did yesterday. And yeah, that's the way I've managed it. It's by not actually being the one who does the nitty gritty bullshit. Have a hell of a team, and it's the only way we get through it. So yeah, with that being said, grab my shit. I'm gonna answer the next question downstairs. So I'll see you guys there. All right, so next question is, what's it like being a business owner versus being an athlete for one? So main thing at the beginning was that I didn't make any money. The fun part was that I got to, put my input on the direction of what everything looked like, the products that were coming out, the formulation, the content, the branding. And I'm starting to build more of a passion and excitement for like branding and marketing behind things. That's what I'm trying to get more involved with and excitement for it. But the big thing I want to talk about right now that people don't get is I've been offered some crazy fucking contracts. Even before Raw ever started, I was being offered $1 million contracts, and now they've honestly gotten bigger. I was getting like multiple 6-figure contracts, monthly salary, that I turned down, and that I don't make nearly that much money because I'm investing all my effort and time and money back into the businesses right now. So literally last week, I had to personally put in $500,000 into buying pretty much all this shit because we didn't want to take on a loan into the business. And when we're launching stuff like energy and protein RTDs, minimum order quantities to manufacture those extremely high, and we're getting into like gas stations and Sam's Clubs, etc. And there's thousands of stores that each need like maybe hundreds of cases, that's millions of cans, millions of bottles, tens of thousands of pallets and everything. It's a lot of money. So when we're not trying to take it on, we're not trying to take on debt, we have to fund it ourselves. So as an athlete, you just make a post, someone says, here's your product, sell it, do your thing. But now we're actually responsible for everything. And you don't make money off the front of that. So it's kind of betting on yourself to make sure that you make money in the long game rather than the short game. And not only that, I'm actually losing money in the process because we need to put it all back in. So I literally spent $500,000 on this shit in the last month and made no money personally, but the business is growing. So it's all gonna be worth it in the end, but it's just one of the big differences versus being a business owner versus an athlete. You bet on yourself, you don't get money in the short term, hopefully you get way more in the long term. What inspired you to start your own business ventures? Example, supplements, merchandise, etc. So it technically did actually start with merch, and I guess that might have been one of the things that popped it off, is making the t-shirts back in 2018. The first ever Champion Mentality t-shirt. First shirt we ever had the Champion Mentality on it, which is pretty cool. Also, selling the bottles. But the big thing that sparked me was I used to be an athlete for Jack Factory, and we made a pre-workout for myself. It was one of the first times the supplement brand took an athlete and then made them their own like product line. And we had a protein pre-workout, and it was actually a blackberry lemonade flavor because my sister said make a blackberry lemonade, best flavor ever. And then we made that flavor. It was a pre-workout, jacked, stacked up formula, and I realized that when we did that, that was like their top selling product. It made a shit ton of money, and I made good money off of it, but then I got a check and it was done and it was over. And they had profited more at their business that someone else owned, got all the attention, all the eyes, all the growth on it, and I just got a single check. And I was kind of like, I feel like I should own this if I'm putting this much effort into it, bringing this much attention, making this much sales. And around that time, I came down to Florida here. I was talking to Dom actually about starting a completely random side business, which was going to be like a condiment company making like healthy sauces and stuff. And when I was down here, they're like, we're going to start a supplement company and we want you to be a part of it, we want you to be an equal owner, come down and do it. And I was like, literally all this was happening at the exact same time, and I was short conversation, I mean long conversation short, I said fuck yeah, absolutely, I would love to. I saw everything they were doing right here, down here. I saw how smart Dom was with business, and I knew that I wasn't going to be someone like operating, being a CEO or COO of a business, doing all the nitty gritty operations in the background. So having someone who could do all that stuff and I could still be a bodybuilder, do what I love. So I retired and be more involved, which is the goal now. And so came on, started with a similar product. We joked about calling it Thabbage because of my list, and I actually made the first ever label on pickmonkey.com, I think. I made it myself and it looked like shit. I still have one of the bottles in my house. I wish I had it for this video, but it's evolved into this. It looks much prettier now. There's a lot more of these made than back then. I think we made 1,500. It was the first run. We sold out like in a weekend, and it was kind of off to the races. But what inspired me to do it was just making a lot of money for someone else and being like, I should do that for myself. And it was pretty funny because I pretty much the money I was making at that point, to be fully transparent, with that Jack Factory job, I made $80,000 in a month. And I was like, holy shit, this is an insane amount of money. And I left all that to come to Raw, turn down $100,000 a month sponsorships, all this stuff, to come with zero salary and zero money for like a year. I made absolutely nothing. So like I said, it was kind of hedging my bets on myself, but I'm very glad I did it. It's been a hell of a ride so far, and that's kind of what pushed me to do it. But yeah, I'm gonna go to the gym now and work out. So see you guys later. All right, so I'm training arms. Fuck, it's already 2:20. I thought it was 2:10. But I have to be out of here by like 3 and plugging my own app right now. But we have a section on my app, probably not gonna be able to see this, but on the homepage, if you scroll down, there's a limited on time category for workouts. And there's a workout on there that's 35-minute arm day. It's called Speedy Sleeves, advanced though. So I'm not an advanced athlete right now, but I'm gonna follow this workout because I have 40 minutes and this is gonna take me 35 minutes. So hopefully it actually does. Quick though, the quad set. So you're doing supersetting 4 different exercises, and then you have a separate tricep and a separate bicep, and then you're done. So I'm gonna hammer some volume and try and put some blood in my arms and not be skinny. All right, so what's a typical cheat day meal or guilty pleasure food? Get this asked all the time, figured I'd answer because I always change this. You guys saw my last video, or you see my stories, you know right now, bagel and cream cheese. If you do a bagel and cream cheese with almond butter on top, it's like an almond butter cheesecake. Absolutely delicious. I've been having Ezekiel toast with cream cheese and almond butter lately because I ran out of bagels. Not nearly as good, but still delicious, so been enjoying that. What's your approach to training when you're off season versus prepping in a show? So optimally, I try and program a year to have a program where you have a strength phase, a building phase, a prehab phase, and then depending on how high or low my carbs are. So to break it down, let's say right now we're going to compete again next year. This would be my prehab phase where I'm doing lighter weight, a little higher volume, some isometric holds, less intensity, and I'm just working on really like long ranges of motion so that as I set my like form up, my range of motion's up, my muscles as they get tight, etc., they're doing so at a full range of motion. So they're growing at the biggest stretch or the biggest contraction, and you just set yourself up to not injure yourself later on in the year. Isometric holds really help build tendon strength. I think you need like, I don't know, I'm gonna have to stress them, but it's long. Like a couple minute holds, whether it be like elevated single foot lunge, hold that for like a minute and a half as long as you can so you're shaking. Those kind of things help build your tendon strength so that you're not injuring yourself when you start moving some heavy weight. From there, my food's at a high. I usually try and just get really strong throughout my off season. I'll phase it a little bit, but the goal is to get as strong as possible, move as much weight as possible, not a crazy amount of volume. And then when my food hits like peak amount of carbs, I can throw in a lot of volume, supersets, drop sets, all that kind of stuff, because your body can utilize it, has the nutrients to do all that. And then when I'm getting into prep, as my calories and my carbs, everything get really low, I actually try and keep my intensity and my strength as high as possible, but I start to cut down my volume because I don't have the nutrients in my body just to hammer that throughout. You can't handle the same amount of volume. But if you keep a high intensity and I don't know what the proper word for it, just heavy ass weight, I guess you could call it, you're more likely to hold on to muscle. So it's kind of like a way I cycle through it in the year. And then once you're like a week out, 2 weeks out, and you're just starving and tired, you're kind of just doing the best that you can. Volume slow, you're not really moving heavy weight or anything. You're just doing what you can to stimulate the muscle as much as possible without overstressing your system. And that's about it, yeah. And within there, there's rest periods, you know? Justin has a belief that in a 12-day program, the 13th week should be a full week of rest. And you know, I typically just go all year and then I take like 3 or 4 weeks off at the end. Not the best way to do it, but given my lifestyle, how busy I am with work, and then trying to compete to win Olympias, I don't always do it the most efficient way that you could do it. I push myself a little harder than I need to. But now that I don't have like a year schedule I'm on, I'm gonna try and follow that thing where I follow a program for 12 weeks, take a week off, let my body reset, and then continue. Sheesh. All right, so the program is a superset with 4 exercises, but there's like a mini rest in between the biceps and the triceps. So I'm doing 4-second negatives, bicep curls with dumbbell, going straight into a spider curl with the barbell on the back of the bench. And then I have a 60-second rest, and it's supposed to be dumbbell skull crushers, but my elbows are a little wonky and I don't really feel like doing that right now. So I'm swapping that out for a cable skull crusher. Same kind of thing behind the head, exact same movement, just not a dumbbell. And then that's supersetted with flat bench skull crushers. I flipped those around, I read it wrong. You go from flat bench skull crushers to behind the head skull crushers. And then 60 seconds between that and you repeat the cycle. So you're kind of supersetting but not. You're giving your biceps a break while you hit your triceps so that you can jump right into it. And it's just a way to be more efficient on time while also giving the muscle enough time to rest. How do you stay grounded with the fame and all the chaos of your life? I would say, I'm still relating stuff to being a competitor because it's still at heart, I'm still like that. But in bodybuilding, when stuff kind of got chaotic or overwhelming or the pressure or whatever, I really just tried to like slow down and broaden my view on things. When I take a really narrow look at things, like trying to win the Olympia, and I'm just locked in and focused on that, I can start stressing about having to win the Olympia. But when I take a step back and I can slow down and like put things away and stay off my phone, just take some time alone in peace and solitude and quiet, and I can take like that bird's eye view at things. I, remember why I started, just because I love bodybuilding. I love training. I love seeing progress and how like amazing my life is that it's all brought me. And when you kind of get caught up in the chaos, it's usually from being narrow-minded and focused on like a task or an achievement or the goal or something, and you don't take out and just see all the beauty that's around you. So I think just being able to have those moments of checking in with myself, and for myself personally being alone, a lot of times it was at the gym or after the gym, just like lying down on the floor and just chilling, no music on, just fans going. I just need to be alone sometimes to think. Not being on my phone for a while, all those kind of things definitely help me. I definitely also think having friends around me who would be friends with me, Courtney, who'd be married to me, my wife who I spend most of my time with, who would treat me the same whether or not I was winning Olympias or not, or doing all the stuff I am or not. They would all treat me the same, so that really helps keep me grounded. Whereas, when I was younger, I was thinking of moving to the States before I moved for Raw, and I was like, am I gonna move to LA and do like all that bullshit? And I went to LA, and it just, I met all these people there. There was influencers and all these people that just cared about fucking being put on your story and, collabing and kind of just using each other's mutual like abuse of use to get famous and shit. And if you get sucked into those people, I feel like you're gonna lose your grounding and, maybe lose who you are and be put down the wrong path. And I just knew that wasn't where I wanted to be. So I just avoided kind of surrounding myself with people who only want to be around me because of what I was doing, and I surrounded myself with people who want to be around me because of who I was in genuine relationships. It's the biggest thing that's kind of kept my head on a straight track. How do you manage recovery and avoid burnout during intense training periods? So I guess the main thing of this was just learning at a young age how important rest was. And I used to train way too much volume, 7 days a week, 3 hours in the gym, just trying to hit PRs, squatting 600 pounds, deadlifting 7 plates like every single week. And I survived for a while, but then I started to get injuries. I started to stop making progress, hit more plateaus. You can do a lot of shit when you're 20 years old, but it starts to break real quick. So learning how important rest was and not overdoing volume, the whole concept of bodybuilding is getting the most out of the least for everything that you do. So that was a huge thing for me. Also, like I was just talking about, having periods throughout the year or within your program where you're actually giving yourself like a full complete rest, whether it's every 12 weeks taking a week off, or every year taking a month off, or whatever it may be. And also just understanding that, what your goal is. When I'm being Mr. Olympia and I'm in prep, my goal is winning Mr. Olympia. Avoiding burnout means that my priority is recovery. That's my number one thing. I'm going to bed at the same time, trying to sleep as long as possible. I'm not stressing myself out too much. I was doing way less work, way less business, trying to nap in the day if I could. Just mitigating all stress and recovery was like the number one priority in my life. Whereas when I'm in a recovery phase or my off season, or I have more energy and I have more food in me to recover, then I would travel more. Maybe I'd stay up later. I'd be more likely to go to dinner with Courtney and not worry about being in bed on time. I'd be in the office more. Other things that could stress me out more because I wasn't as conscious about recovery. So, if you're trying to go to the Olympics, win the CrossFit Games, be the best in the world at something, it's very different. Your priority should just be purely recovery. But if you're just trying to get jacked and look good, it doesn't have to be as much of a priority. Still very important, but you can do it within your training volume, like I said. Just taking days off every single week. Who has been the biggest influence in your life, both inside and outside of bodybuilding? I've always said my dad was my biggest influence, and growing up he was. He's very calm, level-headed, very logical, approach to everything very just methodically and logically rather than emotionally. And it's something that I really valued, and honestly I think it's helped me get through a lot of hard times and manage the chaotic life that I've led thus far. But recently, probably the person with the most influence on me is my wife, Courtney. She's almost the opposite of my dad, which is kind of ironic. She's very emotional. Not overly emotional, but she's like not afraid to show her emotion, to express how she feels, to ask vulnerable questions, to be excited, to be sad, to feel all the different ins and outs of everything. And where I'm someone who may be going through a hard time, I'm like, hold it all in, don't communicate it, suppress, repress everything, and just get to work. You know, logically, it doesn't make sense to fret on the stress, so just push it away and go live your life. And there's times and places for that, and it's definitely got me through some Olympia preps where I was fucked up and needed to do that, but it doesn't really help you actually like release and let things go out of your body. You just kind of hold tension and stress inside of you, and it leads to, myself at least, a lot more stress and anxiety down the line, maybe not in the moment. And Courtney has really taught me and like pushed me and inspired me to allow my emotions to come out, to speak about them when they're on me, to talk about them with her. You know, sometimes I might have them, think them, try and feel them, but just being able to communicate them out loud with someone who I feel safe with allows them to like process and move through me so much. And in doing so, it's allowed me to enjoy more aspects of life, to actually feel more in the moment, and you know, more of the gratitude and excitement around the Olympia, even feeling all the fear and stress, anxiety around the Olympias and shit. It's just more of the human experience of emotion. So I think being able to balance my stoic dad and my emotional Courtney and kind of bring those together and knowing when to use both, I think has what I'm trying to apply effectively and balance to be the best man that I can be. So probably two people who have led to the most change in my life. All right, so we're gonna wrap this video up. Kelvin's gotta run. If you guys have any more questions, throw them in the comments. I'm gonna try and just collect them as time goes on. Maybe we'll throw them in random videos, continue to do these. Also just show more of what's going on, business, life, aspects, everything that I'm kind of doing right now. I'm gonna try and incorporate some of that more into the YouTube. So workout's not completely over. Kelvin's gotta run and I gotta leave in like 5 minutes. So we're gonna speed it up and end the video now. But I just have cable rope pushdowns after this and then rope hammer curls, and then the workout's over. So one of these things I love about this app is you can just like add workouts. If you're like fucking up your program, you can follow one consistently for a 12-week program where you're making progress. There's intentionality behind like the periodization of everything, or you can just throw in quick workouts, long workouts, whatever it may be if your schedule's off all the time like mine is. So that's what's going on. Transformation Challenge coming in January. I'll have a lot more details coming with that, but it's gonna be an ebook, webinar, sign up on the app, follow all that stuff on there, and I'm probably gonna be doing it myself to get back in shape. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Like I said, leave any questions you have below. I'll see you guys in the next video.